Hey, my name is Kelly Kessler. I'm the host of the podcast Rewiring Health, and I'm obsessed with helping you stop feeling burnout, living in pain, and anxious about the future. You see, for years, I felt like I was never good enough. I repeated in my head, when I accomplish this, then I'll finally be happy. And even when I accomplished it, there was always emptiness in my heart. I always put others' needs before my own. Negative thoughts ran wild in my head, and I always struggled to truly feel like I could relax and be present. Well, through my journey of healing, rewiring my brain, regulating my nervous system, and reprogramming my subconscious mind, I have recovered from an eating disorder, I have healed from chronic back pain, and I can truly be present with my two boys and feel that I am living the life I was destined to live with purpose and with joy. And I'm here to guide you along the same journey of healing. So you wake up, your phone is right on the table next to you, and it feels almost like a magnet. You grab the phone, and before you know it, you subconsciously open every app, scroll through social media, you're on your email, you're looking at the news headlines, and you're feeling stressed. And this is how you start your day. I can't tell you how many times I did this, and it did not serve me. It set me up to be in a whirlwind of negativity, and I was just starting my day. And that's why I created the morning guide for perfectionists. So if you struggle with negativity throughout the day, and it's even worse in the morning because you don't have a routine, this will help you tremendously. It's literally everything that I implement that has helped me start my day with the right intentions and put myself into a place of inner harmony. So grab in the link below and enjoy. Hello and welcome to today's episode of Rewiring Health. I'm your host, Kelly Kessler, and today we're going to talk about failures and setbacks. And so if you're like me for so many years, just the thought of failing is cringe-worthy. It was something that that I avoided for many years and just felt like I can't fail at this. Like I will do anything in my power to not fail. It's something that feels very, very fearful. But yet it is a reality of life that there are failures that we're going to encounter in life. And if you were like me, maybe you might have felt like those failures were really just justifying that you weren't good enough at this. And you take them very personally and you attach them to your worth. Like even if whatever you're working on, the project or the relationship, if it failed, that it was something innately wrong with you. And so I want to talk about that and how we can shift our mindset on failures so that way we can move forward and keep pursuing whatever we desire in life without having them derail us like they often do. So I'm going to give you 3 tips in this episode of how you can move past failures and setbacks in your life so that you can keep pursuing what you desire in life and not allow them to control you. So why do we tend to veer away from failure, even though we know it is a part of life? Well, often when we have a failure, we will kind of abort mission. We will have a failure and realize and think that, this is it. Like I failed at it. Obviously, it wasn't meant for me. It wasn't meant, this is not the path I meant to go on. So maybe I'll just go some other direction. And the reason why our brains do this, especially when we're wired more of as a perfectionist, is that our brains go to the path of least resistance. So that actually becomes that easy decision. It's much easier to just give up on something, move on to something else in your life, start pursuing something new than to push through those hard moments. So our brain is already wired to do the easiest thing. So we have to be very consciously aware of that and push forward more in those moments, which can be really, really challenging. But again, I'm going to give you some tools of how you can do that. So the first tool I want to share with you is that we first have to expect failure. We actually have to train ourselves to expect failure. So when you anticipate failure, you are more prepared to deal with a failure. So if you are starting a new business, a new project, whatever it is, and you can expect that along the way, there will be a failure, and this is how I'm going to handle it, it doesn't jar you quite as much because you have anticipated this, you have an action plan in place for when failure occurs, and it's not going to derail you like it may have if it was just completely off guard. So we can actually start to train our brain to be consistent, to stay on top of things. And you can do this by setting yourself up with some challenges throughout the day. So maybe it is like a cold shower in the morning that you just jump in and tell your brain, no, we are going to do this. And this is something that I've engaged in, is that I've taken cold showers for months, every morning and every morning for months. And there's not one day that you want to do it. It's not pleasant, but it's all about training your brain that no, it's go time. Whether you want to do something or not, it's go time. And it may be hard to see the correlation between dealing with a failure and jumping in a cold shower, but it's all about training your brain to recognize that you're in control of what's going on, and that it's not going to take the easy path each time. It's going to have to pursue what you tell it to do. And when you are jumping in a cold shower every morning, it is discipline. It is that action step to be like, no, I'm going to keep pushing forward. It's go time, whether you like it or not. And this actually does create stronger wiring in your brain so that you can keep moving forward each time. Number 2, ask yourself, if you experience a failure, is this the end or is this the beginning? So this is a huge perspective shift. So oftentimes, especially when you're a perfectionist and you experience a failure, it can feel like this was not your destiny. You were not meant to do this. And it could feel like the end of something. But what if you ask yourself in that moment, how could this be the beginning of something better? And just by asking yourself that question, you get your brain thinking. You start to bring in more conscious awareness of how this actually could be beneficial for you, how the world could actually be helping you in this moment. And when we ask ourselves the right questions, we start to get answers that actually help us move forward. And if you ever think about a slingshot, in order for anything to be propelled forward by a slingshot, what do you have to do? You have to pull it back. And the further you pull it back, the further it slingshots forward. And that is such an analogy for our lives. What I have experienced in my life is that a lot of times the biggest pullbacks that I've experienced, the biggest failures, the biggest setbacks have been the biggest catalysts for pushing me forward, propelling me forward in life. So if you start viewing your failures as that pullback of the slingshot and it's going to propel you forward, now it's a game changer. Now you recognize that this is not the end of your destiny. This is truly just the beginning of something bigger that was destined for you. So that just having that perspective shift, asking yourself the right question and recognizing that maybe it's not the end of something. Maybe it's actually just the beginning. Number 3, focus on consistency. This is a big one. So as a perfectionist, as a high achiever, a lot of times we are just grinding and we are unrelenting for ourselves. We show ourselves no compassion and it's just like, there's no excuse. You need to go and that's it. But what if we start focusing on consistency? So even if we are not going to the extent that maybe we think we should, as long as we're showing up every single day and we stay consistent, now we can hold that to move ourselves in a better direction. So consistency is so much more important to focus on than perfection, because perfection will burn you out. If you focus on being perfect every single day, first of all, it's absolutely not possible. So you're just setting yourself up to fail even more. But again, it also holds you at such a high standard that it's many times unobtainable. And the way our brain works is that when we have success and there are things that we can obtain along the way, which consistency does, we actually get dopamine within our brain that increases our motivation and keeps us driving forward towards our goal. So just the sheer fact that our brain is wired in that way, consistency will be so much more beneficial to you to focus on rather than perfection. So focus on consistency, show up, regardless of whether it's easy or hard, do the work, and celebrate that you actually showed up that day, that you did what you told yourself you would do. And don't expect that perfection, because again, we have to celebrate our successes. And this is a really hard thing as a perfectionist, to look at the good of what we've done, but this will help you move forward in your journey. So again, the 3 things that you can do to help move yourself past setbacks, past failures, are to train yourself and expect failures. Expect them and prepare for them. Number 2, ask yourself, is this the beginning or is this the end? How is this slingshot action maybe propelling you forward in a better direction in your life and even further along than you could have ever expected? And number three, focus on consistency. So perfection is not going to be serving you. It is not going to allow you to capitalize on the way your brain works by releasing the neurotransmitter dopamine to keep you motivated. So when you focus on consistency and recognize and acknowledge every day that you are showing up for yourself, that is by far more important than focusing on being perfect every day. So I hope these serve you to help you move forward in your life and get past those setbacks, get past those possible failures that you may be experiencing along the path. And just know, if you've experienced failure, it probably means you're on the right path, because anything that's worth doing in life is going to be challenging, and it's going to come along with failures. So keep that in mind as you move through your day, your week, your year. And if you found value in this, please share this with someone who could also benefit from this. And thank you again for spending your time with me today. Thank you for spending your precious time to listen to this episode of Rewiring Health. My mission is to inspire hope and healing through science-backed practices. If you found value in this, please share with 3 people and leave a review. By doing so, this message can be spread to those who need to hear it most. Also, to get updates on the most recent episodes, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being part of this community, and I am forever grateful for you.